Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the Oakland Athletics franchise here on MLB The Show 24, and today we have the off-season where we get our first major chance to really change this team up and start building for the future. I hope you guys are excited for this and year 2 on the horizon. If you are, make sure you drop that like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. Because the other big change coming to this franchise is we are no longer the Oakland Athletics. We're going to be following what they do in real life. We're going to be playing in Sacramento for the next couple of seasons. So to reflect that in real life, the Athletics will not go by a city name while they're in Sacramento. They'll just be called the Athletics or the A's. So I'll be doing the same thing. However, I'm not going to fully rebrand the team just because I lose jerseys and it's just a little bit difficult, so we will see some Oakland things here and there. Hopefully it doesn't fully throw you off because there's really nothing much I can do about that. But we are going to be the Athletics in Sacramento, so we get a chance to start to, I guess, introduce this new era. It's a transitional phase. Obviously, we're not going to be going after any major free agents, but we are going to fix this team because there are a lot of holes in this team. We were not a good team. We finished 52 and 110 this season. And here's a look at the roster we had. I'd say our biggest needs is pitching. I think we need to address pitching at all levels, starting, relief, and maybe even add a closer. And I do want to add at least a bat because we were not a good offense this year. I want to add a contact bat in free agency. So that is my goal as we advance to the offseason officially and get on with stuff. The first thing we'll be taking a look at is the retirements. We also need a third base coach. More on that in a little bit. But here are the retirees. We actually had 3 retirements this year for the Athletics. Starting off with the top one, Ledmus Diaz retires, all because of ability and injury. As Diaz, a longtime veteran, I wasn't going to bring him back, so I think it fits for him to retire. He hasn't been very good for a couple of seasons, so he will be riding off into the sunset. Also, Vinny Natoli, who was a backup reliever in AAA this year. You know, he's 34. He didn't reach the majors this year, so he has decided to call it quits as well. Only pitched 6 2/3 innings, but a lot of people don't even get to pitch in the majors. And then Ross Stripling, I saw this one coming. He bulged his disc during the season. I said multiple times he played his last game as an Athletic. Maybe his last game as a pitcher in general, and I hope he has a speedy recovery. But here, look at the other retirements. There are some big names in this class. Max Scherzer is the massive one. He has decided to retire. Charlie Morton as well. As you can take a look at all of the list here. Josh Harrison, Brandon Crawford. I'm not going to go through every single one because there is a lot of them. Jackie Bradley Jr., Madison Bumgarner has called it quits. As well as Zach Greinke, Yuli Gurriel. And if you keep going down even more, Shark, Mark Melancon. But there's only one guy who gets into the Hall of Fame from this class, and it's Max Scherzer. He goes in as a National. He is well-deserved. You could argue Madison Bumgarner, and I would listen, but Scherzer is for sure the number one. We only have 2 free agents, exclusive right free agency, Scott Alexander and Trevor Gott, and I wasn't going to bring back either one anyway, so this is a pretty easy decision for us. Now, back to the coaching staff. We lost our third base coach. Mark Kotsay, I am going to give another year. He only has 1 year left on his contract, and he did technically improve, and I wasn't really expecting much, so he'll stay around. But we are going to fire both the hitting and pitching coaches just to completely restart at that spot. Now, for the rest of free agency, I'm not going to go through all the little nuances like arbitration and the little minor league guys, so we're just going to go right into the thick of things because all those guys are going to get brought back anyway. And here is the free agency class of 2025, led, of course, by Juan Soto. It's pretty stacked. Zach Wheeler's here, Tanner Scott, Blake Snell, Pete Alonso, Gleyber Torres, Corbin Burns. I mean, there's a lot of big names in free agency. Now, we're not going to go after them, though. They're above what we have the budget for. So let's start to kind of find some guys that we could potentially go for, including lefty reliever Andrew Chafin. We need to beef up the bullpen. We were not good in that role, and we need a new lefty specialist. And I think Andrew Chafin, coming off a good year in Detroit, could be that guy. So we're going to offer him 1 year, $4 million as our first offer. Closing pitcher, I thought Lucas Erceg was okay, but I think we could give him a little bit of competition if he does struggle. So we're going to offer John Brebbia, who has never really been a closer. He has 4 saves and 10 blown saves, but he's always been a plus WAR player. So I think this is kind of the guy the A's would go for. So we're going to offer him 1 year, $3 million, and he could bite and prove to be a closer for us this year. We need to add a starting pitcher as well. I talked about all 3 levels, and Jordan Montgomery is a good guy who's not getting any offers. Now, we're not really in a spot to compete for anybody, so if a guy's kind of slipping through the cracks, we can maybe get him. Montgomery's been great in the majors. He did not pitch last year, however, but when he has been, he's been pretty good, pretty dominant. So I'm willing to give him a 1 year, $5 million contract, and I think he'd be a great job for our starting rotation. How about another guy in the starting rotation, Wade Miley, a lefty, 38 years old. He spent the past 2 years with Milwaukee. He's had a 3-something ERA for the past 4 seasons, so he's been pretty consistent. And I think that's what a rotation needs. So we're going to give Wade Miley a 1 year, $3 million contract. And I said I want to get a bat. There's one guy I've been eyeing up for at least the second half of the season. I knew Gio Urshela would be a free agent. He is a great contact bat, and I think he would give exactly what we need. Also, he has a quirk where he performs better when the team is behind. Since we're the Athletics, we're behind a lot, so that could come in handy. So we're going to offer him 1 year, $2.6 million. And those are going to be our first 5 offers. Jordan Montgomery, Andrew Chafin, John Brebbia, Gio Urshela, and Wade Miley. Obviously, nobody who's going to blow you away, but I think they are guys who can fill some needs. Now, unfortunately, Jordan Montgomery is also going to get some interest from the Dodgers, so we're probably going to have to fall out of that race. So we're going to turn attention to Michael Lorenzen, who another guy who didn't pitch last year, but he pitched in 2023 and actually made the All-Star appearance. So we're going to give him a 1 year contract worth $2.8 million to kind of shift gears there. The first big free agent to fall is Blake Snell. He is going to Kansas City, out of all places. 3 years, $99 million for the former Cy Young. He was in Cincinnati last year, and now he'll head over to Kansas City. Now, one that doesn't get a graphic, but Pete Alonso has re-signed with the Mets for a 6-year extension, so he's not going anywhere. And we do get our first free agent. Gio Urshela has signed, and there is the first signing of the Oakland Athletics in this franchise. Gio Urshela, welcome to the squad. Now, unfortunately, Jordan Montgomery is no longer interested. We kind of saw that coming, so we have already shifted gears. Andrew Chafin, though, has decided to accept a deal from the Dodgers, so that's unfortunate. We did not get him. So now we got to try to go after another reliever. We're going to switch gears to Chris Martin, a 38-year-old veteran who I think is pretty solid across the board. His control is a little lower, which is a little scary for me, and he's coming off of a down year in Boston. But, it's kind of what we kind of had to do. Maybe find some guys who can have some bounce-back seasons, so we give him a $4.5 million 1 year contract. Zach Wheeler is heading to Pittsburgh. The Pirates shell out a big-time contract. You don't see that very often. 5 years, $168.5 million to the former Philadelphia Philly now. So staying in the state of Pennsylvania, just going to Pittsburgh. We then get John Brebbia. He has signed his contract. So again, closing pitching competition maybe in spring training, and at least he gives us just some more bullpen depth, which we definitely need. And then Wade Miley also accepts his contract, so he is with the squad. He has really good pitching clutch, which I'm excited for to see what he can bring to the table. Tanner Scott is going to the Dodgers, 6 years, $45 million. As the Dodgers, of course, they're going to make a splash in free agency, and they go out and get one of the best closing pitchers available in baseball in Tanner Scott. Chris Martin has accepted his contract. He's here with the Athletics, so he becomes our highest-rated relief pitcher, which is nice to have. He's got just good, solid ratings across the board. The Giants will claim a couple of guys off waivers. I was trying to make some 40-man spots, and Osvaldo Bido and Freddie Tarnok will be heading across the bay. Just kind of sucks they had to steal from us. Now, there's a new guy in the free agency pool. You can see his name there. Hans Hammer Longballo from the Netherlands is coming over to the major leagues. This is a big-time groundbreaking move. Longballo's been playing in the Super Mega League, and, well, he's the first guy to give it a chance. He's made a name for himself. Some people have compared him to David Ortiz over there, and he's going to lead the way. He's going to draw some interest. Nobody from the Super Mega League has ever made it to Major League Baseball. So if he can succeed, more may follow. So that's just an interesting development here in December. Fortunately, Scott Lorenzen is also not interested in an offer, so we're going to shift gears to a reliever. Now, I know we say we're not really going to go after any sort of competition, but Craig Kimbrell's been sitting on the free agency market for quite some time. He's obviously not accepted the 1-year, $4 million contract from the Orioles by now, so I think we're going to offer him a contract. Teoscar Hernandez is going to go to New York on a 1-year contract, which this really just signals to me that Juan Soto is probably not coming back to the Bronx. They're going to replace him with Teoscar. Willie Adames stays in the NL Central, but heads to Cincinnati. 5 years, $48.5 million contract for that shortstop. And then another big domino that falls. Hammer Longballo is going to San Francisco. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, he did not sign a 1-year, $60,000 contract. I will change it. He will sign a 5-year, $60 million contract. It's a proven deal. Nobody's been from the Super Mega League into the MLB. Also, shout out Octagonal Gaming. He just does a great job with this franchise. He did this with one of his big free agents, and I thought it was a great idea. So we're going to do it with Hammer Longballo, see how that works out. Alex Bregman goes to the White Sox, 5 years, $61.5 million contract. So Houston loses their third baseman, and Houston's also not been really active in free agency. So we'll have to see what happens with the Astros. Meanwhile, we get Craig Kimbrell. He signs his 1-year contract. We offer him $4.5 million. And, well, he accepts that over the Baltimore offer. And we get the former 3-time reliever of the year. Today is the draft lottery, which is always exciting because we were the worst team in baseball this year. So we have tied for the best odds to get the number 1 pick in the Major League Baseball draft. We added Robbie Martin this past year at number 4 overall. Let's see if we can get the number 1 pick and potentially add another stud as we simulate through the draft lottery, and the Oakland Athletics will end up with the 4th overall pick. We get passed by 3 squads, including our division rival Mariners, who jumped to the number 1 pick, and for the second year in a row, we fall to number 4 as the unfortunate news for the Athletics, as we were hoping we can get a number 1 pick. Gleyber Torres is also switching teams in division. The Yankees lose another big free agent. He goes to the Toronto Blue Jays on a 5-year, $74 million contract. A big get for Toronto. As now it takes us to the Rule 5 draft, as we've kind of signed all the free agents we're going to in the offseason. So this is our real last chance to add anybody we want to the team. And we have the number 1 pick. And there is a player that caught my eye in this pool. Joe Barlow, a 29-year-old reliever who's a 73 overall, did not play last year from the Texas Rangers, so we can also steal him from a division rival. And I like him. Might as well. Let's give him a shot. Even more beef up to the bullpen. So Joe Barlow is the latest Athletic to join the roster. As you can see, the rest of the Rule 5 draft unfold. Now, there's still one big name in free agent. Juan Soto has not signed yet. Where is he going to go? Looks like he's not coming back to New York. So where is the reigning MVP going to fall? But we do know Corbin Burns is going. The 2-time Cy Young is going to San Diego as the arms race in the NL West in this offseason continues. 4 years, $60.8 million to go to the Padres. But that's not the biggest get in the NL West. That belongs to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They land Juan Soto, 6 years, $179.5 million. So we've seen the Dodgers make moves. We've seen the Giants get Longballo. We've seen the Padres get the Cy Young. Will the Diamondbacks get the MVP? I feel bad for the Colorado Rockies, man. They're just sitting there. And the Dodgers, they're not trying to get one up, so they sign Max Fried on a 5-year, $56.5 million contract to be really the last big domino to fall in free agency. And with that being said, that's going to do it for the first off season. As come to the end, we've reached spring training as we get ready for another year. As I do like the moves that we've made. Obviously, we're not going to go out and light the world on fire, but I think all the moves we made are necessary. I do think we got better as a ball club, which is all you can really ask for. The young guys on offense, they need to take a step up this year. I'm counting on them. But we added Urshela to be a contact bat. We had a lot of pitching help, both at starting pitching and in the bullpen. And then it's just got to have to come around to just improving. Now, here's the 40-man roster for spring training. One guy who's not on it that I am going to make one move is I do want to see what our draft pick from last year can do. Robbie Martin is a 70 overall B potential guy, and I want to bring him to spring training. Let's see what the 22-year-old can do. So he will take a 40-man roster spot, and we will instead release Carlos Perez from that roster to make room for Robbie Martin. But with that being said, that's going to do it here for the offseason. Let me know in the comments section below, what did you think of our offseason? Did you like the moves? Let me know down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot wait to get into year 2 with you guys. We'll hit spring training, and then we'll get right to opening day. But if you enjoyed, make sure you drop that like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.